esports organization that is renowned for success. When Apex Legends even saw other teams globally start to rise in terms of success, with squads such as Liquid, now XSET, Aurora, NRG, and Fnatic becoming legitimate threats to TSM's once strongly held title. TSM was still a fantastic team with plenty of great performances, including being the first place overall squad in this year's Split 1 for North America. But many hardcore fans were wondering, is TSM still the same team of old? Lackluster performances on LAN compared to their previous standards, the dominance of TSM may have come to a close, or so we thought.
Nathan still alive as well for NRG.
To this guy's Imperial House, some good shots. Verho's going to clean them up as well. That's the end of Moist. TSM need 1 point. 1 point to join NRG on match point. The question is, can Howard Verhols get it done?
And you heard the plan. They want to focus the team in the building. They want to ape it, but the team has gone now. So the plan is going to have to change. It's going to have to develop. They either need second place or they need 1 kill. They'll be on match point.
Oh, and How gets the kill? How gets the kill? Needs to be secure. More damage being done by Imperial How. The CEO puts his team on match point.
We got focus east and we're gonna Valko, okay? We Valko now, I think. I think we Valko now, so I move it. We win this game.
Go. It is a shootout to become the champions here in London between TSM and Descent. It does not get more intense than this. Match point leaves us with 2 teams as Kashera makes the play. Kashera for Europe gets the shots in, but no shield break as now the fight goes down.
So important that you get the damage here, and it's done!
TSM up in the skies. House goes down from the heavens.
Alright, as you probably know by now, because you've either watched the London LAN or simply read the incredible spoiler that is the title of this video, TSM just won the Split 1 playoffs London LAN to firmly reestablish themselves as the current best competitive Apex Legends team in the world. From dominating an NA to dominating on the global stage, TSM won their first in-person event in 3 years. But as per usual in this series, we know what they accomplished, but how did they do it? How did TSM reclaim their title as the best team in the world? Welcome back to The Reset. Before we jump into the explanation behind TSM's big win, 88% of my viewers are not subscribed, so if you enjoy ALGS content, hit that subscribe button and maybe like the video to help me out with the YouTube algorithm. Now, before we jump into the games, I want to play a quick clip from the Apex the podcast of TSM's coach Raven describing his philosophy and approach to the game.
I'd say instilling my philosophy, I believe in the team, like starting from the coach, starting from even our POIs. Like both our POIs are very flexible POIs that we switch to. We switch to Lava Siphon and Animal. I really value like flexibility in terms of the meta. Like the meta can change at any time, depending on however Respawn wants people to play their game. Like we have no control over. So yeah, POIs and are just general macro. So understanding like the terrain and like abusing terrain as much as possible. We want the terrain to like guide us to victory instead of hinder us. Like we don't want to be the ones getting fucked by high ground or like having to go through areas that you can't Valkyrie through or not being able to scout, etc.
Raven has stated the reason that TSM swapped to the POIs that they now play at is to maintain flexibility that allow TSM to play multiple styles, have multiple easy rotation options, and ensure that they aren't being placed in terrible locations where they can be punished. I boil this philosophy down to Raven ensuring that TSM is never playing in a disadvantaged state. He's ensuring that his team will always be playing in a spot that favors them and them alone. So back to London. TSM was coming into the London LAN red hot. They finished as the Split 1 North American champions and were one of the favorites to win it all at LAN. And with plenty of dominant finishes in international scrims, many, myself included, were expecting TSM to take the win. But with such a long gap from their last LAN win, there was still doubt. But TSM quickly put the LAN doubters to bed with the most overall points in the group stage to send them easily through to the winner's bracket, where they finished 8th overall to advance to finals on Sunday. The finals format starts by rewarding teams who advance through winners with some initial points. So the 10 teams who advance from winners start with first place RG, beginning with 10 points and in descending order, losing a point for each placement. Because TSM finished in 8th, this means they began the day with 3 points. This is nothing massive, but this means they were only 47 points away from unlocking the ever crucial match point. To start off game 1, we begin on World's Edge. This game really highlights a few key things that TSM does incredibly well that we're going to dissect. Those things being incredible circle knowledge, the ability to effectively rotate into high quality spots in favorable zones, the willingness to take risks early endgame in order to have the highest chance of securing a win, and then the small execution things that every single player can take advantage of. So TSM lands at their usual lava siphon and the circle pulls towards thermal station. Now this is one of the easiest rotations for TSM, and they were decisive to move out of their POI quickly in order to take advantage of the favorable zone.
Alright, I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go as well.
We can take the balloon and go.
With 40 seconds still to go until zone starts closing, TSM has already began to leave Lava Siphon. Now a small keynote here, something Imperial Hal always makes sure his team is aware of when rotating is the need to stop prioritizing loot.
Don't turn back around for shit.
Hal even famously said in one of his streams years ago that he will not ping high tier loot if it would cause his teammates to dramatically shift their loot path to get it. He does the same here to ensure that they are locked in on the task at hand, which is to acquire a quality spot in circle.
I don't see the kids in thermal right now. I'm trying to think what we go for here, boys. Maybe we go for dome spot?
Yeah, that could be good. It's actually not bad.
Trees walking through here.
Hal's initial idea is to hold the building they call Dome, also commonly referred to as Donut, and just to show how incredible Hal and TSM's circle knowledge is at this point, here is exactly where the final circle ends later in that game. With Dome taken, TSM moves into the high ground at Thermal. With just 3.5 minutes left on the zone closing, TSM has moved into one of the best spots possible on the map. And the best part about this spot that they're holding is the difficulty for other teams to challenge them for it. Once again, Raven is trying to put TSM in spots that make it so that they hold the advantage. In this specific spot, the only viable methods of pushing TSM here would be a Valkyrie ult or a Horizon Q, but in both situations, TSM holds the advantage, meaning as long as they don't get knocked from afar or waste their shield economy, they are sitting in a spot that can secure them easy placement and kill points. And once again, this is another incredibly small aspect of the game, but notice how Reps is about to drop a purple light mag for Hal and is calling the timing of it because the amount of Loba teams on World's Edge is heavily increased, meaning a Loba ult could steal it if the light mag is on the ground for too long.
13-1.
How much light do we have?
Here, I have this too. I have a purple light for someone. Who wants the
I'll
purple
take it,
light?
yeah, I'll take it, I'll take
Ready?
it. Yeah, yeah.
Take it.
How much light is there?
110.
Okay.
These small bits of attention to detail to avoid stupid mistakes is a key reason as to why TSM is so good, and we'll see a few more of those throughout the games today. So now we fast forward, and a team has decided to Valk ult onto TSM. Hal notices it and calls it out.
Someone's flying in. On top of us, maybe. On top of us. On top of us.
Yeah!
No. Crypto what? Don't drop. Do not drop. Do not drop. Nice.
He issue with the Valkyrie push onto the top is that once you land, it takes a few seconds to pull your gun out, and with a team in such close proximity and zero cover, the team that is already sitting on top has the early damage advantage. TSM takes advantage of this and gets the wipe, but notice that Hal immediately calls not to drop for the loot. They certainly could use the loot, but he reinforces the priority of positioning and they allow the two loot boxes to fall without a second thought. So as mentioned earlier, the best part about this spot is the difficulty to displace the team holding it, but also the incredibly easy ability to pick up kill points from afar. TSM is overlooking both Space Station and Ascend, sitting at the location nicknamed Jungle Gym, and they managed to pick up multiple kills with zero repercussion for their peeking. Later, as TSM gets to a point in which their heals and armor are incredibly low, Hal looks for a safe third party that could net them KP and loot, so they're prepared to fight in the final circle.
Can we look right? Look right, look right!
Under donut.
103! I think we go third party this, boys!
I'm gonna nade that.
I think we go third party this! Come on, come on!
Going.
I'm ulti, Matt. My ult. Go on the left.
They're going back.
Down, down.
I'm weak.
Like zero thing on us. They're going around, they're going around. Go, get the kill if you can. Watch out, nice.
This is a risk that many teams would not take. They would be content holding their spot and playing for placement and suffering the consequences with their lack of loot. Or they might have not even had a lack of loot in the first place due to their inability to pick up the kill points that TSM has from this spot. But TSM is always looking to maintain the advantage. A lack of loot will put them at a severe disadvantage if they're playing for the win. So pushing this fight is a risk they're willing to take. So we reach the final two squads, and TSM, although they have the high ground, has the worst spot since both teams inside of the donut building can wait until zone pushes TSM off the pillar. TSM makes the push and picks up a few more KP, but finish in third place. Overall, they had 14 kills in that game, which nets them a massive total of 21 points. And with this kind of a strong start, game 2 and 3 could set them on pace for a record-setting day. But that scenario was not in the cards, as in game 2, TSM managed 0 total points, losing out to Luminosity and Singularity, a pretty poor setback, but luckily, due to the pop-off game that was game 1, they are still sitting in second place heading into game 3. Game 3 was slightly better as TSM managed 4 kills, but they finished in 15th place. And in this game 3, there are a few key pieces of communication that I want to highlight. First off, although many know Hal for his outburst towards his team when mistakes are made, many ignore Hal and TSM's constant ability to build confidence in each other. TSM wins a fight against Dreamfire out on the edge, and these are the TSM comms right after the win.
I'm going to the roof.
Nice job.
Go, boys.
Hold presence on roof. I'm
I
popping
am.
out.
There's nobody. There's nobody.
I'm telling you,
Good
nobody
stuff,
can
good
kill
stuff.
us on edge!
Yes, sir, baby.
Good job.
After that, there's one small line that I wanted to highlight where Hal reminds the team of the mentality that they need to have approaching the rest of the game.
We have really good loot. Don't be scared to fucking fight. We
Yes,
have
sir.
like such
I'm
good
ready to
loot.
fight, bro.
Good shit on the fucking Seer, Evan.
Yeah. Fucking insane.
Once again, this is something so incredibly small that many people and other teams might overlook it, but the best teams are often the best communicators. Instilling confidence in each other throughout and highlighting good decision making only serves to make each player better throughout the day. And ensuring that both reps and roles are on the same page as Hal in terms of being prepared to fight is a small piece that could eliminate a split second of indecision later in a match that could cause them to lose that ever-present advantage they seek to hold. Through 3 games, TSM, despite having 2 poor performances, is still sitting tied for second place overall. In game 4, they net 6 more points, putting them at 35 points total. They've now reached the spot where a decent game 5 can net them match point eligibility. But game 4 is a big one in terms of points for teams like Dark Zero, X7, and NRG, who all rocket up the leaderboard to take the top 3 spots. NRG had a monstrous 32-point game and became the first team on each point, effectively putting the pressure on the rest of the lobby and TSM that they can no longer coast because NRG is looking to end. But then comes game 5. We head back to World's Edge, and TSM couldn't ask for a better circle. TSM packs a beacon so Here is where TSM decides to hold up, and here is where the zone eventually ends. This is masterful positioning that should put them in a spot to push for a big game. Now, as established, NRG is the only team on match point, and on World's Edge, NRG runs a comp of Valk, Loba, and Watson. So when Hal sees a Loba team landing near them, he becomes hyper aware of this team's movements and play to try and ensure that this team, assuming they are NRG, cannot win the game.
Lobo team. It's probably,
I'm gonna scan them
I think
in a
this is
second.
NRG right here. In this building.
I'm gonna scan them in like 8 seconds.
Can you start queuing the doors up at the truck over here, Evan? I can
Yeah, I'm
shoot
coming
you.
over.
If he shoots you, I can shoot him.
Now, as a spectator at home, we know this isn't NRG. TSM also realizes that this could be a possibility, as NRG is not the only team in the lobby that uses Loba. And this detail is important because if it is in fact NRG, then TSM would be willing to int them in order to secure a Game 6 if needed later in the match. Now later, TSM get Valk ulted on by Dark Zero. This is incredibly unfortunate timing for them, as mid-fight NRG dies in the kill feed, but TSM is too distracted and fails to notice. TSM does manage to pick up 2 kills onto Dark Zero, but remember, TSM still does not know that NRG is dead, and this could impact the way that they play this endgame. TSM hears the commotion going on between LG and Alliance nearby, and play the third fantastically, getting angles, finishing knocks, all to help ensure that they have a better chance at winning this game.
I think, can we third party that? Can we go third party that?
I think we should. I
Yeah.
think we should.
Coming.
I have no heavy. I'm only on scout.
Play chill, play chill.
I need to with this box, Evan.
Zero one. Zero one sound in the back
Knock
room.
inside, one shot.
I'm looking. Thank you. Queuing up on height. Ultimate height. I'm inside.
Alliance dead. Energy's still alive.
So eventually we get to the final 3 teams. Reps has gone down, and so it's Hal and Burholst remaining. Reps calls out that the team to their west is Onic, which leaves TSM suspecting the team across the way, which has a Loba, is NRG.
Kill the team in the building. I think it's energy
Wait,
in the building. I'm
west?
pretty sure. The
How
guy
did-
that was on top of the rock is Onik.
Okay, we gotta shoot the team in the
Hal,
building.
take my ult still, bro.
We shoot
have
the team
to
in the
kill the
building. We
building
shoot the team in the building, okay?
Yeah.
Get ready.
Yeah, we just hit them.
With this assumption, they're hoping one of 2 things happen. Either they kill the team they suspect to be NRG, or the more likely scenario, they weaken them and Onic gets the win. Either way, a Game 6 would be forced.
Get ready. You ready?
Yeah, I'm following
Do
you,
you have
bro.
any nades? Follow me.
No nades, no nades.
Come to me,
I'll
come to me,
dodge
come to me, come to me. There.
Batting. Last bat, last bat.
Yeah, you can play the roof. They
They
might
might
aim
be
me,
on
they
the
might
height.
aim me, be ready.
Yeah, I'm chilling here. I can't move. We have to just aim them, bro. That's all we can do. You ready?
Go inside, yeah. Come on, zero. They went down the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, get rid of the aim west.
I'm looking left. Look left. Dead. Kill left.
Nice. Go left. Go left. Go left. Dive on them. Dive on them. Kill them out.
Single last team energy, bro.
No one died. Okay.
Fire.
Win this. Win this. Win this. You win this.
I'm going left.
Give me Digi, Evan.
I'm down, it's all you.
Fine.
Bro, when did they die?
Has
Oh
to
my
be on it.
god.
It's fine. Good shit.
So TSM manages to get 2nd place, and that launches them up to 53 points on the day, which has officially put them as the only other team besides NRG onto match point. You couldn't write a script any better. Games 6 and 7 are largely meaningless for both TSM and NRG as they fail to win, but in Game 6, EU Team Ascend hits match point eligibility, and in Game 7, XSET also hits it. With 4 teams now on match point, and Alliance, Onic, and Moist all sitting within 3 points of hitting match point, we are reaching the point that TSM must make a move or risk losing it all. So finally, we reach match number 8. We head back to Storm Point. the circle pulls towards the northeast side of the map. And this is where I want to finally, once again, highlight the clip I showed of Raven from the beginning of the video. Raven said they never want to be fighting against the terrain when rotating. I believe a large portion as to why TSM switched over to the wall on Storm Point is the rotations. This exact circle is one of the most difficult circles to rotate into when showing up from the south sides of the map. Storm Point is set up in a way that the northeast side of the map is the highest point, meaning to try and rotate there, you must go uphill. TSM being so close allows them to easily rotate this challenging terrain extremely fast before it becomes clogged with all 20 teams. But once again, to highlight TSM's zone knowledge, this is now the third game where they have managed to take one of the best spots in the zone, so incredibly close to where the final circle will be. In the games they managed to do this, they have placed top 3 both times prior, meaning TSM is set up for a big game. Now, of note to remember later, XSET, one of the 3 other teams on match point, is sitting on the roof directly above TSM. TSM is not aware that this is XSET, but with these 2 teams so close to each other, it's unlikely that both will be able to make it deep into this game, as they will eventually be forced into a fight. Hal and Verhulst start looking for KP and to bully the team holding below them. Holding below this building is almost an impossible task because there are so many different lines of sight that other teams from all around them will have. So this is an easy spot for potential KP for TSM. But I want to take a second here to highlight Reps, one of the most underrated players in all of competitive Apex. I believe his comms as Seer in this game were just next level.
I'm 63. You have any cells?
Yeah, I need 4 cells. I need 4 cells.
Did you hear me? They're still there.
Yes, I hear you. I hear you.
I got 3 back door. You need one?
I have 2. Can't carry. Still the team above us on our height.
Jordan, take my 2x for your scout.
I mean, I'm not doing it. I'm sitting here watching the doors,
Okay.
bro.
Okay,
Here,
I'll
take it
stay
back.
Yeah.
Ping anything I can shoot at. I have a 3x charge.
Jordan does an amazing job ensuring that his comms are heard by his IGL. Hal is the decision maker and needs to know all the information. And since Jordan is Seer, ensuring this information is received by Hal is once again a small piece of why TSM is so good. When we examine teams who perform poorly, there are examples of important information being commed and someone on the team not hearing it, and that coming back to bite them later. This can happen to any team, including TSM, but when it matters most, Reps is making sure that nothing slips through the cracks. Ultimately, most of his comms are purely situational information, informing his team that the other team, being XSET, is still existing until this moment that swings the tide for TSM in a massive way.
They're gonna look. They're gonna look. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
One on me
I
inside.
saw him
On my
coming.
door. On my door.
I'm looking at you, Jordan.
Got him. I got him.
Nice.
Push him.
I'm watching Logan push.
Are they trading on height?
On height. They're still on height.
I can't
I'm
tell.
scanning. I'm scanning.
Someone just respawned over here.
They've been knocked. Can we go?
Yes,
Finally,
yes.
I'm jumping on that. Cracked him. He's one.
There's a guy just dropped off on the north side. Solo Seer. Solo
that
Seer.
kill. It's one guy. He ran down. Heal. Ping energy, please.
TSM perfectly takes advantage of XSET having a player knocked, forces their way onto the roof, and now has a clear path into circle with height advantage. This play is so massively important because it now gives TSM the ability to safely Valkult if need be. As we see on the data mined zone exclusion map, the circle cannot end on this building that TSM is currently holding, meaning it will be pushing off to the east side. The fighting going on around TSM is insane. Over half the lobby is stuck in or around TSM's building. But Hal sees the circle and takes a peek over to the side that it's on and notices a game-winning opportunity.
We got a third party to this fight. We got a third party east somehow. We got focus east and we're gonna Valkult, okay?
Okay. Yeah, pop in a syringe.
We Valkult now, I think. I think
Ready?
Valkult now, so I move it. We win this game.
Go.
We move this.
Where?
Ooh. They're fighting back here. We're right behind these guys. Yes.
They're looking for it. I have no nades.
I'm moving forward.
I cannot stress how impressive this Valkyrie ult was. When I was watching this live, I was sitting there telling my friends Luminosity on the other side was holding God's spot, but TSM was lurking in the skies. This was the moment that I knew that Raven had changed this team and how for the better. Obviously, his impact could be seen throughout his time there, but this was his defining moment of influence. Valk, since her release, has been a must-pick character.
On days that we grew up together.
But for TSM, their inability to effectively use her ultimate, and oftentimes dying the moment they landed from it, had become somewhat of a meme in the ALGS community. But in this game, TSM not only Valkyrie into Godspot in the early endgame, but they have perfectly timed it to steal away this spot from both Alliance and LG, who have weakened each other in a fight. This was truly the best timing from a Valkyrie TSM has ever had. They moved over to a less populated side of the map and were able to gain the best spot in circle, while the rest of the lobby wastes away back at their old building. The old team looked for kills at this building, and if they had succeeded, they would have walked in late on low ground or Valgulted into a disadvantaged state on Godspot, having to fight the winner of Luminosity or Alliance, who have already fully healed. But Raven's philosophy of always playing for the advantage state has brought TSM to this very moment, with victory just within reach.
It is a shootout to become the champions here in London between TSM and Ascend. Charge rifle shots hit. Who has the utility available though? Reps, you saw the seer. He has the exhibit available as well. He can get that down to get the wall hacks out. That's going to give TSM an advantage, but the last thing you want to do here, Dan, is be the first to be knocked.
Have they been tracking the kill feed? Do they know they are going up against another team on match point? Whoever wins here wins this tournament. Post-kill, trying to take an angle, trying to get an area where he can put down suppressing fire to allow Kashira and the rest to get out.
Ascend have got to make the play here. Do they have the EMP available? Is that what they're going to use to try and push from? It does not get more intense than this. Match point leaves us with two teams as Kashira makes the play. Kashira for Europe gets the shots in, but no shield break as now the fight goes down.
So important that you get the damage here, and it's done!
TSM up in the skies. House goes down from the heavens. London belongs to TSM!
In conclusion, TSM won for so many different reasons. As Raven stated in the beginning, his philosophy has been about rotational flexibility and maintaining the advantage state. TSM has mastered that, as they have the ability to play both edge and zone, while some other teams get pigeonholed based on POI and legend composition into very specific playstyles. TSM is one of the few teams in the world that is comfortable doing whatever it takes to win. All three of their best games revolved around them rotating early and holding one of the best spots in zone as early as possible and picking picking up immense KP along the way. So what makes TSM so dominant is their ability to effectively prioritize when to loot and when not to, as shown in games 1 and 3, their immense zone knowledge that allows them to grab god spots regardless of whether they have beacon knowledge or not, their willingness to take well-timed risks, as shown in game 1 jumping off high ground for loot, or the early Valk ult in game 8, their communication skills as how constantly reminded the team of the macro, placed them in the right spots before the fights occurred, and Jordan's effective information passing to his IGL, their attention to detail on the small things such as timing loot passing to avoid a Loba ult stealing it, or ensuring that they are all on the same page in terms of their mentality when approaching a game, and finally, insistence on playing from the advantage state and refusing to engage with plays that will put them an immediate disadvantage. Also, once Hal returned home on stream, he explained a really cool moment about Verhulst that I wanted to share with all of you.
Was I impressed with Evan's improvement? Yeah, it was funny. This is I've never had a teammate do this before. You know what I mean? Like I've never had a teammate do this before, but I didn't even know he was doing this. But after, I think it was after or during rally or some shit, he would write down things that he could improve on or the team could improve on his phone, and he would reread it before he plays. And he was doing the same thing when we were playing in London. Like, he would just have notes to like remind himself like certain things, and he was like that is like the only person I've ever seen do that. I've played with, like, you know, Jordan forever. He's never done that.
I think not only this shows Evan's commitment to improving as a player, but I think that this is something that any player can utilize. Hal and Reps are two of the most experienced players in the game, and when they give Evan feedback, oftentimes I know many fans focus on the delivery of the feedback, but in the end, the things that they're telling him to do are oftentimes correct. And so simply writing it down and going into each and every game, reminding himself of what those things are, can help ensure that he builds proper habits and improving as a player every single match. Hey guys, I know that I haven't really ever done a face cam before, but I just wanted to get on here and say thank you so much for 10,000 subscribers. I started this YouTube thing a little over a month ago just because I enjoy video editing.
It's everything you wish for. Your site traffic is skyrocketing until...
It's crazy to think that even some of the most driven and obsessed people with their ambitions and goals will never achieve their goals because they've already given up on their goals. And as contradictory as it sounds, it's something that I've been thinking about a lot recently. Now, the other day I was talking about anime with my brother, and he was mentioning Blue Lock and how great Blue Lock is. And although it was an anime that I saw and I was planning to watch because it seemed quite interesting and had some cool images, and I'm always up for a good sports anime, I never quite, I wasn't going to watch it anytime soon. But he convinced me. He was talking about how great it was. He even mentioned that it's like the best anime out there. Well, second best, he says, because obviously I know, like, he thinks the greatest anime and story of all time is AOT, and I respect that he thinks it's AOT, but the fact that he thinks Blue Lock is the second best is something that I find quite egregious. There's so many good anime out there apart from Blue Lock. I just don't understand that take. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked from the video. So he was watching Blue Lock and he was telling me to watch it, and so I watched it, and it's a really weird anime. It's a football anime, and it's about training the best striker in the world. Well, from Japan to be the best striker in the world. And it's a bit weird because it's not about a whole football team, it's just about the strikers. And they even play an 11-a-side with 11 strikers on each team, right? So that's a bit weird, right? It's a bit weird for a football match, right? I'm not American because I keep saying football instead of soccer. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird anime. But the whole point of this anime is about what it takes to win, what it takes to succeed, and what it takes to reach your goals and ambitions, especially really competitive goals and ambitions, and really, I guess, dreamlike goals and ambitions. But the whole series revolves around the different aspects. And in the 18th episode of this series, so yeah, I guess spoilers for people who have I've reached the 18th episode. There was something about giving up which I found quite interesting, and I've thought about it recently in regards to myself. Now, this topic on giving up is something that seemed like a vague anime concept at first, but the more they expounded on it, the more it kind of made sense, right? The idea of not just giving up as an active thing, but more of a subconscious thing. And I think that's a very important aspect which a lot of us don't talk about, but it's something that creeps up on a lot of people. And I think this may be the reason why a lot of people burn out along the journey, give up, ultimately. Maybe sometimes why, you know, although you may be feeling like you're putting in a lot of effort, you probably aren't making a lot of progress to whatever goals and ambitions that you have. Now, generally, when we think of giving up, it sounds like an active thing, like you've just had enough, you've probably done everything you can, and, you know, you've just now given up. Kind of like when someone gets rid of, try all your guesses, and, you know, it just doesn't work out. But, like, you know, giving up seems like an active thing, like you just accept it. But I guess, like, in the idea of giving up, you know, you have this idea where you allow yourself to be kind of taken over by some kind of emotion or addiction. So, the idea of giving up may not necessarily be an active or conscious thing that we do. You can allow yourself to be taken over by emotions and addictions quite subconsciously as well. That before you know it, you're addicted to something, or you know you're awash with a certain emotion. And I think that makes sense. However, how does this relate to the idea of giving up and how you can do it subconsciously? Great question. So the idea in this is that, like most people, when they reach a wall, they lose, when they fail in some way or form, they create excuses for themselves. You know, people create excuses. They think about all the things that, you know, are just unfair in the sense between them and their opponents, between people who are successful and people who aren't, and they use those excuses as crutches in a sense. And so people get happier in the sense of then chasing the goal instead of achieving the goal. This is the whole idea that, you know, of enjoying the journey, enjoying what happens. It's a bit of a weird thing that happens, but it's where people enjoy the journey more than they do actually reaching the goal. Now, tangent completely from this, but still give you an example. I think this relates to One Piece very well. Now, you don't even need to know anything about One Piece because I'll explain it to you and everything I mean. Now, the anime One Piece is about pirates who are trying to look for the greatest treasure, which is the One Piece. And while a lot of people may feel like, you know, on a surface level, you know, it'd be easy if the treasure was just the friends we made along the way. That seems like a very anime-esque thing. And why, you know, it makes sense that even the author came out and said, no, it's not going to be the friends we made along the way, is because it gives into this idea of subconsciously giving up, right? The idea that, like, the journey is more important than the goal. When in actuality, if you want to achieve anything in the competitive world, the journey is not as important as the goal. While you may enjoy the journey, while it's important to enjoy what you do, the goal is what you're after. You're not after the journey. And that's why for One Piece, it just doesn't make sense. Because if the goal is in the One Piece and the real treasure is the friends we made along the way, then why continue in the journey to find this treasure when you've already got the friends along the way? But I digress. Let's get back to this video and talking about subconsciously giving up. People see either people who they think have achieved success, people who are just more experienced than them, or somebody else who just seems to be doing better than they are, and it makes them feel like they're lacking something, that, you know, maybe if they had some other thing they could be more successful, and success seems to now be determined by some outlying factor and some kind of unfortunate events than actually taking control and looking at what they can do. Things like, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I don't have this equipment, I don't have that equipment, I don't live in this country, and stuff here is very different. And if that were true, no one would really be successful, because we can always probably look at someone who's, I guess, better off than we are and think that they should be successful. And I think a way in which people shouldn't give up to this is by, I guess, stop enjoying the journey. Stop enjoying the journey as much as you do. Stop being happy with simply having tried and having certain milestones, right? And, you know, why it's important to have patience and you shouldn't self-loathe yourself. And it's not I'm saying that you shouldn't enjoy the journey at all, but enjoying the journey shouldn't be your focus. It should just be what keeps motivating you to achieve the goal. At the end of the day, the goal is what's the most important thing. Failure and success are equally as unimportant on the journey to achieving the goal. You learn from both of them, you take the experience from both of them, and you try to achieve the goal. Now, for me personally, I've had some art goals for a long time that I would like to achieve. And honestly, I think at some points I kind of mentally did give up on my goals because it was hard. Art is just hard, as we all know. It's like nothing comes easy. There's so much you have to learn. You have to learn anatomy and then perspective and then how things fit together and then color theory and then values and then hues and then saturation. I don't even know some of the stuff I keep saying right now, but you have to kind of know all of it, and there's so much to learn and so much to practice and so much detail in everything that it just seems hard to master it. And so I think at some point for me, I was also kind of self-satisfied, right? I got satisfied with just the goals I had reached, right? How much had I grown? And while that's important to appreciate how much you've grown and, you know, it should motivate you to move forward, I just kind of enjoyed it. And I was just like, hey, look, at least I've accomplished this. And I wasn't really accomplishing much else. For a long time, I just spent time just thinking about, hey, I think I've achieved this, and I think that's really good for myself. I think other people haven't achieved this, and the fact that I have means, you know, I must be doing something right. But at the same time, I wasn't really advancing. The progress I made over several years could have been made in a few months, now looking back. And honestly, the thing that got me out of this cycle of being continually self-satisfied was looking at people who came after me. The number of people who started art after me who actually just blew past me. And of course, I know that talent plays a role in some of these things. But at the same time, a lot of these people were just working harder. A lot of these people were just breaking barrier after barrier, chasing goal after goal. And here I was, happy with, you know, stuff I'd achieved 2-3 years ago, right? And, you know, it made me think about how much I needed to work. And so, you know, I took a challenge on, and I decided that I'd go every day for a year. And although I wanted to make a video on that, I figured this wouldn't be interesting enough. So here are some of the drawings I did in that time. In fact, this is all of them. But back to the point is that, you know, once I actually started to put more effort in and focus on looking ahead instead of looking behind, I actually made more progress. Now I wonder what I would have achieved if I'd been doing this for all that time before. But anyway, at the end of the day, guys, giving up is really something that you want to be in control of. It's okay to give up on your goals. It's okay to prioritize some things in your life over something else. But at the end of the day, if you want to achieve something, if you have an ambitious dream, an ambitious goal, the goal should always be more important than anything else. The goal is more important than the journey. The goal is more important than whether or not you're enjoying what's going on midway through. It's more important than whether you succeed or fail at the little milestones as you go. All those should just be experience that helps you push forward. Looking back and seeing what you achieved should help you move forward. Everything should help you move closer to the goal. But anyway, guys, thank you for listening. That's it. Yeah, now I just make videos when I want. So like, I'll see you whenever I decide to make a video again. Bye. Okay, if you're still here, I don't know why you're here because I already said bye. But like, if you watch anime, then help me out here. How does my brother think that Blue Lock is the second best of all time? Like, I helped him get into anime, but I feel like I failed him if he thinks Blue Lock is the second best. I mean, obviously, I don't even do favorites, so I don't even know how number one is. But number two is definitely you guys subscribing because you've come this far. You're even in the extra credit scene and you haven't stopped the video. So, but help me out here. Like, the second best or even the first. Like, what is...
Hurry to the out of office event at your Subaru dealer.
60,000. Just want to run, nothing crazy here. You ask me. Middle of. Just want to run, nothing crazy here. You don't even need to be on the railings. Hit this. Just time it right. You don't even need to be sprinting. Time it, and jump. Okay, elevation. And you want to stay in the middle of these because these ones have like invisible barriers, guys. So you want to stay in the middle. You don't go too far to the left. Otherwise, it'll hit you off. And just like that. A lot of people die there. I've even died in my first reaction to this map video. We've come a long way. We've improved quite a bit, if you ask me. And now we're going up, 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 and away. Boom. Same thing as here. This is stuff we've all done. You're just going to run on these tires. Just run. Let it do the work for you. And same thing for ones above. So here we land. I just like to be it safe. You can actually hit that jump, but I like to play it safe because we're so far. This you can mantle right over them. If you're worried about hitting your head and like going underneath and grabbing, just mantle over it just to be safe, you know? You don't gotta get fancy. That's inappropriate, I think. I'm not sure. Not family friendly. Boom. And now we just cut a corner. This one, like, it's weird. It glitches sometimes. So go on it very carefully. It's like it's moving. It like slides you off. Luckily, it didn't happen to us right there. Boom. Boom. And I fell. What the? Same spot and like the exact same time, guys. Died and we got to the exact same spot and like the exact same time, guys. Holy, we're back here. Now you want to jump over in this and you'll fall back down. It's actually a better of a time. Go right here. You're just going to run and let the tires take you. Just keep on holding forward here. Do not let it go. Because if anything, we're back here. Exact same spot and like the exact same time, guys. Holy, we're back here. Now you want to jump over in this and you'll same spot and like the exact same time, guys. Holy, we're back here. Now you want to jump over in this and you'll fall back down. It's actually a better of a time. Go right here. You're just going to run and let the tires take you. Just keep on holding forward here. Do not let it go. Because if anything, you just get ejected even further right there. Boom. Just jump and hold mantle. This one's a little tricky one. But again, jump, hold mantle just in case you don't get it. Turn. Jump, hold mantle. Jump, hold mantle. Get on top there. And now we're in the home stretch where we're going to be going to space right now. I like to just like turn like that 90-degree turn just to get on top. Just to make sure it's safe. Boom, same kind of vibe. Mantle. Aim for the mantle instead of like landing on top because sometimes you just don't get on top. At least for those ones. Boom, in space. Woo! There it is, guys. The original only up map. We got 11:05. After a lot of practice and hours on the map, I learned the best ways to maneuver. I learned it all myself.
Tanjiro will die at the end of Demon Slayer. Or at least I think he has a very good chance of dying. And the reason why I think so, even though it's so weird to think about, main characters dying apart from, the obvious ones like Tanjiro's family and so on, is because there seems to be a lot built up around the idea that, you have to put your body on the line to protect everyone, and maybe that might just kill him in the end. Now, obviously, I just want to mention that I don't know anything about the manga. I'm an anime watcher of Demon Slayer through and through, so manga's not my business. But in the anime, it seems, like I said, that there's this whole idea that the demons have this unfair advantage in terms of strength, healing, they don't have to protect people, they don't grow old. And, maybe by the end of it, when you face Muzan, who is everything that, the demons are, he's the very reason they exist, it may be a battle in which the main characters that fill up the spots of Hashira. But not just in a way that, okay, the main characters obviously need to grow and fill up the spots, but there's already a connection between which Hashira will be replaced by which main character. Now, first of all, we have Inosuke and Tengen, right? Both of them are very similar